I've been waiting for this day for about 6 years. We've spent a long time working on something new, and we've been quietly preparing for today for a long time, many years in fact. And essentially what we're revealing is what we're calling Immersiplay. It's really weird to be talking about it like in a way that people will see and hear. That's a word that has always been called the format and everything like that. Immersiplay is a style of storytelling that we've come up with for video game machinima. And what it is really kind of in the name, the words immersive and the words let's play, role play, and gameplay.
What? You're alive! I can't believe that actually worked. You don't know how long I've been looking for you.
What are you?
I'm a ghost. Well, now I'm your ghost, and you've been dead a long time. So you're going to see a lot of things you won't understand.
How am I...
Oh no.
What the hell was that?
This is fallen territory. We aren't safe here. I've got to find a way to get you back to the city.
The city?
Hold still.
Where'd you go?
Don't worry, I'm still with you. But we gotta move. Fast.
Okay. Where are we?
An old world spaceport. We call it the Cosmodrome. It's incredibly dangerous and has been quarantined for a long time. It was risky for me to even venture this far to get you.
Well then, what happened here?
The collapse. The end of everything.
What collapse? God,
We've tried to combine all those elements together, and what you get is this really unique mix of storytelling with gameplay, but also the ability to sort of recreate, rewrite, and essentially drive your own narrative over a pre-existing game or universe or anything like that.
Infested with them, so tread carefully.
Okay. All right. Wait. Where are you going?
To find some light.
You can't just leave me here.
We won't survive in the darkness. Not for long. I'll be back.
Who are you guys?
We are a fire team sent by the tower to keep the fallen at bay in this area. I'm the leader.
I have a very deep love for Destiny. Immersiplay really started with Destiny 1. That's kind of the origin point 7 years ago. The universe and the lore was remarkable. I just was immediately drawn to it. And I had, a very difficult time during that period, and Destiny was kind of the go-to escape. And I started to play the game like I play most games. I'm not the kind of player to sprint through a level and get as fast as I can and get, speed run it all the time. I like to take it slow and really admire the environment and the atmosphere and do it in a very smooth, crafted way, because it provides sort of a cinematic experience for me as a player. And I've always been different. I've always played games that way where people sprint, I walk, because I like to be immersed fully in whatever universe I'm in. And with Destiny, that immediately became difficult, because in some missions with other players, they would try to speed run it and sprint through levels, and you couldn't, you would get a whiff of 4 months of work that it took a level designer and environment artist to make this area, and it took 2 seconds for you to run through it, because if you don't keep up with the players, you lose it. You're gonna lose the story beats that are ahead. And that always drove me crazy. And there's nothing wrong with someone doing that, essentially. I mean, that's, they want to beat it fast. But I love to take it slow. And I think Bungie's environment design is just on another level. It's incredible to take. You look at all the small details in every single map and area and whatever. It's just it does everything it needs to do. And I also like to pay respect to the artists that spent years crafting this. I've played that way since I was a kid. I don't know where that started. I just think video games were such an important way for me to kind of immerse myself in a different world that's away from the world I was living in, that I wanted to sort of maximize the immersiveness. And it kind of, in a way, it carried me into making video game trailers for a living, because when you're doing gameplay capture, you're kind of doing the same thing, but you're controlling an in-engine camera and shooting all these moments in real time in a very sort of precise style of movement on a joystick or anything like that. It's very important to do that. So in a way, you can say that that style of playing games influenced what I do is, here with Player One trailers and Player One stories and all that kind of stuff. Being able to, have all this prior experience working on official trailers and all this other kind of stuff, and even creating these gameplay demos that are really sort of specific and beat by beat kind of scripted out of what's going to happen and how, really lends itself well into Immersiplay, because it's kind of a way for you to create whatever you want to create using the game as your canvas.
We started working together a long while ago, doing trailers. Very fun to do, because it has that sort of mix of getting to play a character without having to go into the whole meat and potatoes of an entire story. You get to just sort of be on top of it and just inject yourself into it and come back out. And after a while, the opportunity presented itself to do something a little more long form, a little more, dare I say, risky. And Player One asked me to be a part of this project. And several years later, here we are.
Yeah, it was quite the journey to trying to figure that out, working with multiplayer and then single player. But I think the winning combination that worked for me, that I found, was that sort of mix of cinematic movement in the world on top of having our own voices and moments and visual effects. There's so much work that goes on behind the scenes that's meant to be invisible.
Well, that's quite the ship.
Built during the Golden Age. They don't make them like they used to. Looks like it hasn't made a jump in a long time. Drives are in pretty decent shape.
I don't know. Do you think it'll fly?
There's only one way to find out. Oh yeah, it's pretty simple really. It's like pressing a button, except you're doing thousands of calculations to ensure the ship doesn't bang into the walls and kill both of us. Uh-oh, more fallen. They must have tracked us through their underground network of tunnels. I'm bringing you in.
But then obviously on the flip side, no one's going to notice. So that's where you did well, is if no one notices that. And I think that's why it's taken so long, even just to get this first episode out. This current iteration of Immersiplay is about 3 years, almost 3 years old, where I started working on the pilot episode in 2019 for Destiny Solas. So, and you'll even see that in those first 8 minutes were recorded and mostly done in 2019. And so it really was trying to take that little vertical slice of an idea and really expand it into what it is now. There really isn't much of a reference point because it's so many different things mashed together. So it really was a matter of trying to find where on this bar of first impressions and quality, where do we land? because wherever we land, that's going to be the reference for everyone else. And so it was one of those things of trying to make those decisions of, you know, what should be in the show in the first episode, and how do we evolve over the, you know, the season. And so it's been a lot of work, but I'm pretty happy. We got more in that first episode than I was expecting. You know, we were going to wait on some of the stuff, and I managed to fit that in. So it's pretty exciting now to see so much of that, you know, from 6-7 years of tweaking and you know, testing and doing all these things.
So it was just like we sort of got to play more, and we got to tell more of a story than we usually get to tell. So, you know, like really decompress it quite a lot, and that was, you know, much more satisfying. And to see that process still works on that level, like on a much more micro level, was great, you know, because then, like, you know, we can come into it from 2019 to 2022 and we're good to go. We don't have to start from square one or anything, you know. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to hit, like if it was going to feel like more like a, you know, like an animated pilot with footage of something I've seen before, or if it's going to hit more like a Red versus Blue or something like that, you know, where it's, you know, obviously it's got a very, very heavy, like very heavily edited, very stylized kind of thing. It wasn't really that either. It felt comforting. It felt like sitting on my couch with my friends, and all my friends were really good actors, and we were just in the zone, making it our own thing. And it was, I don't know, I didn't really expect that. Kind of sucks you in pretty much right away, and it feels like it uses the game in a way that will make it familiar immediately without it feeling like a retread or a story that's not worth, like that's like already in the game, you know what I mean? Like it still feels like its own original thing. Which is like, you know, alone just enough. It's just like, well, what is going on? Like, what am I looking at? You know? So it's intriguing on several levels.
There's plenty of people who I've told that, like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this thing. Don't worry, and that was like 4 years ago. So I'm sure they're watching this and probably laughing, realizing that it's taken this long for us to finally release it. But it's kind of our first step into this like interesting territory. And yeah, I hope people enjoy it. It's, you know, we have so much cool stuff planned for the future where we're gonna take it and what's gonna happen, and it's gonna be, you know, a lot of work and commitment and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, when you have multiple seasons of this story already created, it's a matter of delivering and making sure it's what people would like and enjoy to watch. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun making this.